The knock came at 03:00 hours, pulling Marcus from his sleep in the cramped quarters of Station 12. He stumbled to the door, still half dressed in his maintenance uniform, and pressed the access panel. The door hissed open to reveal a figure that made him freeze. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her skin a pale blue that seemed to shimmer in the corridor's dim lighting. 4 arms hung at her sides, and her eyes were large and dark, reflecting the emergency lights like pools of midnight. "You are Marcus Webb," she said. It was not a question. "Yeah, that's me," he replied, rubbing his eyes. "Can I help you?" She stepped forward, and he noticed 3 small figures behind her, partially hidden by her lower arms. Children. They looked up at him with the same dark eyes, their skin a lighter shade of blue than hers. "I am Lyra. My husband died 3 cycles ago in the reactor incident." "You knew him. You worked together." Marcus felt his chest tighten. He remembered Cale, the gentle giant who had taught him the proper way to calibrate the fusion cores. The explosion had taken 5 workers, and Cale had been among them. "I'm sorry for your loss," Marcus said quietly. "Cale was a good man. The best engineer I ever worked with." Lyra nodded, her long fingers gripping the doorframe. "I have come to ask something of you, something that may seem strange to your kind." Marcus gestured inside. "Come in, please." The family entered his small quarters, the children pressing close to their mother. The eldest couldn't have been more than 8 in human years, the youngest perhaps 4. They stared at Marcus with curiosity and something that looked like hope. Lyra stood in the center of the room, her head nearly touching the ceiling. "On my world, when a provider dies, it is custom for another to take their place. The widow seeks a new partner to care for the offspring and maintain the household. I have watched you, Marcus Webb. You are kind. You are skilled. You are respected among your people and mine." Marcus felt heat rise to his face. "Lyra, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm honored, but humans don't usually do things that way." "I know," she said. "I have studied human customs. I understand this is unusual, but my children need guidance. They need a father figure, and I need someone who understands the station, who can provide, who can teach them the ways of this place." The middle child, a girl with bright eyes, stepped forward. "Are you going to be our new papa?" she asked in halting standard. Marcus knelt down to her level. "What's your name?" "Nira," she said softly. "That's a beautiful name." He looked up at Lyra. "Can we talk about this?" "Just us?" Lyra nodded and spoke to her children in their native tongue. They moved to the corner of the room, settling on the floor with practiced quiet. The eldest produced a small data pad, and the younger 2 huddled around it. Marcus stood and faced Lyra. "I'm not saying no, but this is a big decision. For all of us." "I understand," Lyra said, "but I must be honest with you. Station regulations require that families have a registered provider. Without one, they will relocate us to the refugee sector. The children would lose their education placement. We would lose our housing allocation." Marcus felt anger surge through him. "That's not right. Cale died serving this station. You should be taken care of." "The rules do not account for compassion," Lyra said. "Only structure. Only the way things have always been done." He paced the small room, thinking. He had lived alone on Station 12 for 3 years, ever since the divorce. He had thrown himself into his work, into being the best maintenance tech on the crew. He had no family here, no real connections beyond his colleagues. "Why me?" he asked. "There must be others from your world. Someone more suitable." Lyra's expression softened. "Because Cale spoke of you often. He said you had honor. He said when the young technician made the error that nearly caused a cascade failure, you took the blame to protect his career. He said you shared your rations with the dock workers during the supply shortage. He said you were the kind of human who reminded him why the Alliance was worth preserving. Marcus felt his throat tighten. He had never known Cale had noticed those things, had never imagined the big alien had cared. What would this mean, exactly? Marcus asked. If I agreed, you would move into our quarters. They are larger than these. You would be registered as the household provider. You would help raise my children, teach them, guide them. And I would care for you as a wife cares for a husband among my people. Which means what? I would prepare your meals. I would maintain the home. I would offer you companionship. I would warm your bed if you desired it. She said the last part matter-of-factly, as if discussing shift schedules. Marcus felt his face burn again. Lyra, I'm not looking for that kind of arrangement. If I do this, it would be for the kids. To help them. To honor Cale's memory. She tilted her head, studying him. That is acceptable. My people do not require physical intimacy in a partnership. We value cooperation, mutual support, shared purpose. The rest is optional. He looked at the children in the corner. Nira was teaching her younger brother how to operate the data pad, while the eldest read quietly. They looked so small, so vulnerable. Can I have time to think about it? Marcus asked. We have 12 days before the relocation order is executed, Lyra said. I apologize for the pressure, but I saw no other option. Marcus nodded. Come back tomorrow. Same time. I'll have an answer. Lyra gathered her children with a few words in her language. As they filed out, Nira turned back and gave Marcus a small wave. He waved back, his heart aching when the door closed. Marcus sat on his bunk and put his head in his hands. He thought of Cale, of the man's booming laugh and patient instruction. He thought of the children's faces, of Lyra's quiet dignity in the face of bureaucratic cruelty. He thought of his own empty quarters, his solitary meals, his life of routine and isolation dot by morning. He had made his decision. When Lyra knocked the next night, Marcus opened the door with a packed bag at his feet. I'll do it, he said. But we do this right. We set boundaries, we communicate, we figure this out together. And the kids come first, always. Lyra's eyes seemed to glow in the corridor light. You have my word, Marcus Webb. We will be a family. Perhaps not in the traditional sense, but a family nonetheless. The children cheered when they heard the news. Nira grabbed Marcus's hand and pulled him toward their quarters, chattering excitedly about showing him her room and her collection of station maps as Marcus followed them through the corridors. His bag slung over his shoulder, he felt something he had not felt in years. He felt needed. The quarters were indeed larger. A 3-room unit in the family sector. Lyra showed him to a small room that had been Cale's workspace. You may have this as your private space, she said. Everyone needs solitude sometimes. Marcus set his bag down and looked around at the tools still organized on the shelves, at the family photos on the wall. Cale smiled out from them, his arms around Lyra and the children. I'm not trying to replace him, Marcus said quietly. I know, Lyra replied. You are trying to help us. That is different. That is enough. Over the following weeks, Marcus learned the rhythms of family life. He woke early to help prepare the children for their education sessions. He taught them basic maintenance skills, showing them how to repair small electronics and patch pressure suits. He told them stories of Earth, of oceans and forests, and things they had only seen in data files. Lyra proved to be exactly as she had promised. She managed the household with quiet efficiency, prepared meals that accommodated his human dietary needs, and gave him space when he needed it. They talked in the evenings after the children slept, sharing stories of their worlds, their losses, their hopes. One night, About a month after he had moved in, the youngest child had a nightmare and came running to Marcus's room. The boy climbed into his bed without asking, pressing close for comfort. Marcus held him, stroking his head until the child fell back asleep. Lara appeared in the doorway, silhouetted by the corridor light. "He trusts you," she said softly. "They all do. Cale would be proud." Marcus looked down at the sleeping child. "I'm doing my best. That is all any parent can do," Lyra said. As she turned to leave, Marcus called out softly, "Lyra, thank you for asking me, for trusting me." She looked back, and he thought he saw something like relief in her expression. "Thank you for saying yes. You have given us more than housing and status. You have given us hope." Marcus Webb had come to Station 12 looking for escape from a failed marriage and a life that had stopped making sense. He had found purpose in honest work and the respect of his peers. But in answering a desperate knock at his door at 3 a.m, he had found something more. He had found a family that needed him, children who called him Papa, and a partner who valued him not for romance or passion, but for his character and his willingness to show up. It was not the life he had imagined. But as he sat in the quiet darkness, holding a sleeping alien child, Marcus realized it was exactly the life he needed. And somewhere, he hoped, Cale was smiling.